Hello friends, welcome to the world of project management and for an overview session on project procurement management knowledge area, that is controlled procurements. Motto of this training is to share my experience in preparing for PMP certification, and I have prepared few slides. Let's quickly move to our agenda for this session that we are going to discuss on what is controlled procurements and its ITTOs, that is its inputs, tools and techniques and outputs. Let's start. It is the third process in the project procurement management knowledge area, and it is defined as the control procurements is a process of managing the procurement relationships, monitoring the contract performance, and making the changes and corrections as appropriate and closing out the contracts. So this definition is as per the PMBOK guide. Hope you understood this. And the main key benefit of this process is that it ensures that both the sellers and the buyer performance meet the project requirements according to the terms of the legal agreement. Hope you understood this statement about the key benefit of this process. Hope you understood about its definition as per the PMBOK guide and the key benefit of this process. So let's start with our inputs, tools and techniques and outputs. In inputs, we have the project management plan, which contains the requirements management plan, risk management plan, procurement management plan, change management plan, and the schedule baseline. And also inputs, we have the project documents, which contains the assumption log, lessons learned registered, milestones list, quality reports, requirements documentation, requirements traceability matrix, risk registers, and stakeholder register. And also in inputs, we have the agreements, procurement documentation, approved change request, work performance data, and we have the EFs and OPs, that is enterprise environmental factors and organizational process assets. And coming to the tools and techniques, we have the expert judgment, claims administration, data analysis technique, which contains the performance reviews, earned value analysis, and trend analysis. And in tools and techniques, we have the inspections and audits. And coming to the outputs, we have the closed procurements, work performance information, procurement documentation updates, the change request, the project management plan updates, which contains the risk management plan, procurement management plan, schedule baseline, and the cost baseline. And also we have an inputs, the project document updates, which contains the lessons learned register, resource requirements, requirements traceability matrix, risk registered, and the stakeholder registered. And in outputs also we have organizational process assets updates. Fine. So this is about the brief what are the inputs, tools and techniques and outputs. Let's discuss more detail about these ITTOs, starting with first inputs. In inputs, first we have the project management plan, which contains a requirements management plan, risk management plan, procurement management plan, change management plan, and schedule baseline. Let me explain one by one. First, with requirements management plan. This input, the requirements management plan, describes how the contractor requirements will be analyzed, documented, and managed. Hope you understood this. Moving to the risk management plan. This input, the risk management plan, describes how the risk activities created by the sellers will be structured and performed for the project. Hope you understood about this risk management plan. Moving to the procurement management plan. This input, the procurement management plan, contains the activities to be performed during the control procurement process. Hope you understood about this procurement management plan. Moving to the change management plan. This input, the change management plan, contains the information about how the seller created the changes will be processed. Hope you understood this. Moving to the schedule baseline. In this input, if there are slippages created by the sellers that impact the overall project performance, the schedule may need to be updated and approved to reflect the current expectations. This is about the schedule baseline. Okay, hope you understood about this first input of the control procurements, that is project management plan. Let's move to the next input, the project documents. As I said, which contains the assumption log, the lessons learned registered, milestones list, quality reports, requirements documentation, requirements traceability matrix, risk registered, and stakeholder registered. Let me explain one by one. First with assumption log. In this, the assumption log documents assumptions that have been made during this process, that is procurement process. Moving to the lessons learned registered. The lessons learned earlier in the project can be applied further along in the project to improve the contractor performance and the procurement process. This is the main key role of this lessons learned register. Moving to the milestones list. In this, it lists the major milestones which shows when the sellers are expected to deliver their results. This is about the milestones list. Moving to the quality reports. The quality reports in this can identify the seller processes, procedures, or products that are out of compliance. Moving to the requirements documentation. In this, the requirements documentation may include both the technical requirements and the non-technical requirements. The technical requirements that the seller is required to satisfy and the non-technical requirements that includes the health, safety, security, performance, environmental, insurance, intellectual property rights, equal employment opportunity, license, permits, and any other non-technical requirements. This is about the requirements documentation. Moving to the requirement traceability matrix. This requirements traceability matrix links the product requirements from their origin to the deliverables that satisfies them. Moving to the risk register. In this, each approved seller comes with its own unique set of risks depending on the seller's organization and the duration of the contract and with the external environment and also with the project delivery method and the type of contracting, the vehicle chosen and the final agreed upon the price. So all this information is stored in the risk register. Moving to the stakeholder register. This stakeholder register includes the information about the identified stakeholders that includes the contracted team members, selected sellers, contracting officers, and any other stakeholders who are involved in this procurement process. Hope you understood about this input of the control procurements. Let's move to the next input. We have the agreements. As we are already learned about agreements in the conduct procurements, let me explain what is the role of agreements in this control procurements. The main agreements are the understandings between the parties, as I said, which includes the understanding of the duties of each party. The relevant agreements are reviewed here in this process to verify the terms and conditions are met or missed. So this is the role of the agreements here. Moving to the next input, we have the procurement documentation. Mainly the procurement documentation contains the complete supporting records for the administration of the procurement processes, and it may include the statement of work, the payment information, contract work performance information, or it contains the plans, drawings, and any other correspondence material. So hope you understood about this procurement documentation. Moving to the next input, we have approved change request. Mainly the approved change request includes the modifications to the terms and conditions of the contract, or it includes a procurement statement of the work, or it includes the pricing, or descriptions of the product, services, or results that has already provided. Okay, hope you understood about this input approved change request also. Moving to the next input, work performance data. The work performance data here contains the seller data on the project status, such as technical performance, activities that have started, which are in progress or completed, and it contains the cost that have been incurred or committed, etc. So this is about the work performance data. Okay, moving to the next input, we have the enterprise environmental factors. It may include the contractual change control system, or it may include the market conditions, or it may include the financial management systems, or the accounts payable systems, or it may include the buying organization code of ethics. Okay, hope you understood about this EFs also. Moving to the OPS, organizational process assets input, which mainly includes the procurement policies. Okay, fine. Hope you understood about the inputs of the control procurements process. Let's move to its tools and techniques. First, starting with the first technique, that is expert judgment. As I said in my previous sessions also, the expertise should be considered from the individuals or groups with some specialized knowledge or trainings in few areas, such as the relevant functional areas, such as the financing, engineering, design, development, or change supply system, etc. And it also the expertise should have knowledge in the laws, regulations, and compliance requirements and the claims administration. So this is about the expert judgment. Hope you understood about this technique of the control procurements. Let's move to the next technique. We have the claims administration. First, we will discuss what are claims. The contested changes and the potential constructive changes are those request changes where the buyer and the seller cannot reach to an agreement on the compensation for the changes discussed or cannot agree that a change will or has occurred. So these contested changes are called the claims. Hope you understood what are claims. And when they cannot be resolved, these claims cannot be resolved, they become the disputes and the final appeals. Hope you understood this. And also, if the parties themselves do not resolve a claim, it may be handled in accordance with the alternative dispute resolution, that is ADR, alternative dispute resolution, that typically follows some procedures established in the contract. Hope you understood about this claims administration. Moving to the next technique, data analysis technique, which contains the performance reviews, earned value analysis, and the trend analysis. Let me explain one by one here. First, with the performance reviews. The technique, the performance reviews for the contracts measures, compare, and analyze the quality, resource, schedule, and cost performance against the agreements. So mainly it reviews all this information as part of the performance reviews. Moving to the earned value analysis. In this, the schedule and the cost variances along with the schedule and the cost performance indexes are calculated to determine the degree of variance from the targets. Hope you understood about this earned value analysis. Moving to the trend analysis. The trend analysis technique can develop a forecast estimation it complete, that is EAC, for the cost performance to see if performance is improving or deteriorating, that is decreasing. So this is about the trend analysis. Okay, hope you understood about this technique of the control procurements. Moving to the next technique, we have the inspections. What is inspection? An inspection is a structured review of the work being performed by the contractor. So simple definition here. It may involve a simple review of the deliverables or an actual physical review of the work itself. Hope you understood now with this statement what are inspection technique. Okay, hope you understood about this technique also. Let's move to the next technique. We have audits. These are also we have discussed in the quality management. The audits are structured review of the procurement process, and the rights and obligations related to the audits should be described in the procurement contract, and also the resulting the audit observations should be brought to the attention of the buyer's project manager and the seller's project manager for adjustments to the project whenever necessary. This is about the audits. So we have completed all the tools and techniques of the control procurements process. Let's move to its outputs. In the outputs, first we have the closed procurements. What are closed procurements? The buyer usually through its authorized procurement administrator provides the seller with some formal written notice that the contract has been completed. So this is a closed procurement. Hope you understood this. Moving to the next output, we have work performance information. Mainly this work performance information includes the information on how the seller is performed by comparing the deliverables received, are the technical performance achieved, are the cost incurred and accepted against the statement of work budget for the work performed. This is about the work performance information. Moving to the next output, procurement documentation updates. The procurement documentation that may be updated includes a contract with all the supporting schedules, requested unapproved contract changes, and approved change request. This is about the procurement documentation updates. Moving to the next output, we have the change request. As I said in all my previous sessions, any change in the any process of the project management or in the control procurement process also, has to go through the perform integrated change control process, that is PICC process. Okay, hope you understood about this output of control procurements, the change request. Moving to the next output, we have the project management plan updates, which contains the risk management plan, procurement management plan, schedule baseline, and the cost baseline. Let me explain one by one. First, with risk management plan. In this, each agreement and the seller has its own set of risks that may be required updates to the risk management plan. Hope you understood this. Moving to the procurement management plan. The procurement management plan contains the activities to be undertaken during the complete procurement process. This is about the procurement management plan. Moving to the schedule baseline. If there are any significant schedule changes created by the sellers that impact the overall project schedule performance, the base schedule may be need to be updated and approved to reflect the current expectations. This is about the schedule baseline. Moving to the cost baseline. In this output, the contracted and the material cost can change frequently during the delivery of the project. That is, these changes can occur because of fluctuating the materials and labor prices created by the external economic environment, and also that has to be needed to be incorporated into the cost baseline. This is about the cost baseline. Okay, hope you understood about this output also. Moving to the next output, we have the project document updates, which contains the lessons learned registered, resource requirements, requirement traceability matrix, risk registered, and the stakeholder registered. Let me explain one by one here. First, with the lessons learned registered. The lessons learned registered can be updated with some different techniques that were effective in maintaining the scope, schedule, and the cost of the procured items. This is about the lessons learned registered. Moving to the resource requirements. As the work progresses by the contractors, there may be changes to the resource requirements which resulting from the work being done that is not in accordance with the planned work schedule. This is about the resource requirements. Moving to the requirements traceability matrix. The requirements traceability matrix is updated with the information on the requirements that have been satisfied. So this is about the requirements traceability matrix output. Moving to the risk register. In this, each approved seller comes with its own unique set of risks. That's depending on the seller organization, or the duration of the contract, or the external environment, or the project delivery method, or the type of contracting, the vehicle chosen, or the final agreed upon the price. So all this new information is updated in the risk register. Moving to the last of the stakeholder register. As the work progresses through the execution phase, the contractors and the suppliers may change. So these changes should be reflected in this stakeholder register. Okay, hope you understood about the stakeholder register also. So you have understood about the project document updates output also. So let's move to the next output. We have the organizational process assets updates. In this output, it may include the payment schedules and request. It may include the seller performance evaluation document, and it may include the pre-qualified seller list updates, and also the lessons learned repository and the procurement files. So all this information may include in the organizational process assets updates. Okay, hope you understood about all the outputs of the control procurements process. So we have completed here all the ITTOs, that is the inputs, tools and techniques, and outputs of the control procurements. And last, before closing this session, we have to remember few key points from the project procurement management knowledge area. Let me revise all the things which I have discussed in last previous 4 sessions. First, we need to understand and remember all the contract types, risk associated, and the logic behind them in order to select the right one. And we need to remember that all the communications regarding the procurements is formally written, and like the audits used in the quality, procurement audits are conducted by the management to ensure that the entire procurement process is being followed. And also, we have to remember the key point that the project manager or the team should monitor the procurement activities according to the procurement management plan in order to verify the compliance with the project objectives. And also, we need to remember that every aspect of the buyer seller relationship must be included in the contract. And also, we need to remember that negotiation is the preferred procurement conflict resolution technique. So these are the key important points we need to remember while we are performing this knowledge area, that is project procurement knowledge area. So this completes our third and last session on the project procurement management knowledge area, and hope this session is easy and understandable for you. Let's discuss more detail on the next knowledge area, that is project stakeholder management, in the next video. Kindly provide your feedback on the given email ID and subscribe my channel if you like this video, and please share with your friends. Bye for now. It's your Anil Kumar Dharam.